Hi, welcome to Automotive Show KG Canadian Enthusiast. Before start the show, I want to hit the like button and subscribe to my show. So now let's get started. Today on the show, we're going to talk about major vehicle launches and future directions for many brands. So now let's make it happen, shall we? So let's talk about the quick stuff. I want to get through this very quickly. So Vauxhall has now just confirmed from 2028 onwards, Vauxhall will be a full electric EV brand. Now, it's part of the Stellar's, its parent company's direction for the future, which I accept. That's fine, because in Europe, it's becoming the hardest place for auto manufacturers right now with the emission standards. It's rather okay to go EV early as possible to make sure that you are safe from the future emission standards, which is fine by me, since Vauxhall never really had any sexy engines to maintain anyway to begin with. Which is fine by me, of course. Moving on from that, in the same company of Stellar's, Ram has now confirmed there's a full electric Ram 1500 coming as a full electric EV in 2024. Now this is a very important moment. Ford introduced the F-150 Lightning, and now Ram is going to introduce this. Now we don't know when will the Chevy Silverado EV will come along, but the Ram could beat it to the market. But I'm not thinking that, because GM has the benefit, because they have the GMC Hummer, which is tactically going to be a pretty much reskinned for Chevy. So I presume it's going to come a lot earlier. So on that note, we're going to go down to some further news from Stellar's. Now you think this is a theme of Stellar's and Ram and etc. They have given mottos or motivations for prospective brands. Now I'm going to mention a few. For Fiat, heat the people but not the planet. What they do mean by that? They want to make vehicles that's fun to drive but not damaging for the planet. Now Dodge might have, I think, the most captivating motivation ever. Burn the street but not the planet. Now that's pretty badass if you ask me. Many Hellcat buyers will like that, with no doubt. I got no question over that. Now moving on from that, let's talk about the Jeep Grand Cherokee for a second. Now the Grand Cherokee L is the 3-row Grand Cherokee. There is a 2-row model that they still make, because the 2-row model is always popular as much as the 3-row, because the 2-row model always gets the cooler models like the Hellcat models, such as stuff. But there will be a future Hellcat, but don't expect to see supercharged V8s. That's going to be not going to happen that way. It's going to come without a V8, might be a plug-in hybrid, so a bit of a disappointment. But if the performance is there, I think as enthusiasts we can forgive the Jeep brand for it. Now, what is the Grand Cherokee? The new addition is the new plug-in hybrid model, which is the same as the Wrangler hybrid. Now this will be only available most likely on the 2-row Grand Cherokee only, which is the same. Of course, specifications for the hybrid is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine from the Wrangler, combined with a PHV system, makes 375 horsepower. That is more than the 5.7 Hemi V8 of the 3-row Grand Cherokee. Yeah, but I still want the V8. Now, of course, it's not launched yet because the 2-row model hasn't been introduced. They teased us with the specifications. So I'm looking forward to see the 2-row Grand Cherokee. I've seen some pictures and it's not that different from the normal 3-row Grand Cherokee, except slight changes in front fascia, things like that. So I thought you should know that. Now, prices wise, the Grand Cherokee starts from $38,000, go all the way to $61,000. Now the range topping trim is the Summit Reserve trim. So yeah, I would recommend to go to the middle trim, which is the Overland trim, which is the best trim to go actually. I recommend you that. Now moving on from the Grand Cherokee, let's talk about a partnership. This is a time for partnerships really. Bugatti and Rimac have joined forces to be the ultimate creator of hypercars, of electric hypercars. Is there a more badass joint partnership than Rimac and Bugatti? I mean, really? I mean, think about this. Rimac and Bugatti, 2 hypercar producers with over 1,000 plus horsepower. I mean, it's insane. But don't worry, the current Bugatti Chirons will be produced and Rimacs will make their own Rimacs. But when the time comes, they both will start developing technology together. But that doesn't mean they will be a rebadge. Think this way, Bugatti won't be a rebadge Rimac. It will be different because electric batteries can be differently specified. Of course, there are separations there. Looking forward for the partnerships, indeed. Now moving on from that, let's talk about the Hyundai Elantra N. Now this hasn't been launched, but it's super predictable. We almost can just tell it right out now what engine it will power by. Really the same 2-liter turbocharged as the Kona N with 275 horsepower turbocharged. I might say around 36 grand actually in terms of price, my prediction. To be honest, it's one of the most predictable launches yet. But that's very much fine for a person like me who wants to do this show because it makes my life easier. There are so many launches that I want to tell you, but I'm not so sure how they're going to come out. That's something to consider. Now, Lotus had a big historical moment. Lotus sports cars have always known for go-kart-like handling, wonderful speed. But they were always terrible in comfort and practicality and the word luxurious. That is sorted with the new Lotus Amara. Aymara or Amara, you pronounce it the way you want. Please correct me in the comment section. Now, this particular luxury sports car is all about a replacement for the Elise and the Exceed. But I'm going to go far as and say this replaces the Lotus Esprit. Its arch rivals are going to be the Porsche Cayman and Boxster, but also rivals the base 911. Now, I thought one vehicle, two segments makes sense. Lotus needs it because Lotus new bosses will not let them make another internal combustion vehicle except for this, so it counts. Some specifications: two-door coupe, 2 seats, rear-wheel drive, 8-speed TCT, which is from AMG, just so you should know. The usual 6-speed automatic, the usual 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can there be a 8-speed TCT and a Toyota gearbox offered? That is because the entry-level engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder turbo from the A45 AMG S, which is of course detuned. Mercedes will never give the full strength to another brand. In this case, it produces 360 horsepower. So, yeah, that's actually quite potent to begin with. Now, of course, they haven't said top speed or anything. They haven't been pretty clear on the engine lineup as much, but they have said 360 is the horsepower beginner of the range. And then the first edition model that you can buy is powered by the previous 3.5 liter supercharged V6 from Toyota, which is bulletproof and reliable with 405 horsepower and 180 miles per hour. That's very quick. That's fairly quick. Of course, don't worry, more versions of this Amara will be launched as time goes on, obviously. Now, prices is very interesting. Very similar to what the C8 Corvette is really. Prices will start from less than 50,000 pounds, go all the way 70,000 pounds or more. So, just like the Corvette starts below the 60,000 mark, which is perfect value for money. So, at last, our prayers have been answered. We often said this. Will there ever be a European version of a C8 Corvette? I guess it's here. And I love the Lotus Amara and it looks superb. I think it's better than a McLaren Arthur or a McLaren 720S. Just so you know, McLaren geeks. Moving on from that, let's talk about the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Moving on from that, the BMW 2 Series. The 2 Series is super important for BMW. It's their sports car with an old retro design. That means no funny business. Got it? No funny business. No big grills. No stupid stuff. The usual stuff. Retro designs, good luxurious interiors, and classic rear wheel drive. Now don't confuse yourself with the 2 Series Grand Coupe. Okay, this is not the 2 Series Grand Coupe. This is different 2 Series. Specifications: 2-door coupe, 2+2 rear wheel drive or all wheel drive, 8-speed auto or 6-speed manual gearbox. 4 versions are available: 220i, 220d and 230i and M240i. Now the first 2 entry-level engines are only available in Europe, not in North America. So the entry-level engines are the 2-liter turbo with 181 horsepower to a diesel with a mild hybrid diesel 188 horsepower. The 230i is a 2-liter 155 mile hour 155 bhp model. Then the M240i is the model with 382 horsepower and 155 degrees engine as the BMW 340i or those products. In short, I'm very impressed. The styling I looked at very personally and I think the styling is wonderful. Wonderful. In some might not agree with me, that's fine by me. Prices will start from 34,000 pounds, go all the way to 45,000 pounds. This is before all options are added, just so I thought you should know on that note. Now moving on from that, I'm going to talk about a couple of more vehicles. It's the Aval Chitu. It's the Haval's RAV4 CRV competitor. Chinese brands have come so far. They give you the space and the interior space and the equipment standards of a compact SUV, but price tag of a subcompact SUV. And the Chitu does the same thing. 5 SUV, 5 seats, 7-speed TCT, 1.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder, 184 horsepower. Of course, there's a mild hybrid version with 190 horsepower. Prices, I would say it will start around $20,000 to $28,000, so very reasonably priced. The price could be pretty much thinking on that note. Now, I'm going to end the video on this note, so thank you very much for joining me on the show. Thank you very much.